Welcome to the channel. If you're returning, welcome back. Today's video is about motorcycle safety. My sources are U.S. Department of Transportation, National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, NSC or the National Safety Council, Injury Facts for Motorcycles, Forbes Advisor, Motorcycle Accident Statistics and Numbers. All links are going to be provided in the description. I'm also using screenshots of the sources so you can pause the video and read for yourself. I want to be transparent in my sources as this video isn't an opinion editorial. It's a presentation of statistical facts from different sources. Providing those sources is important in order to give my viewers the opportunity to read them for themselves if they disagree about the information I am presenting. One of the more common reasons for people not to engage in motorcycling is the concern for their safety. The statistics we commonly hear are that motorcyclists are 28 times more likely to die in a crash than those in automobiles or trucks. That seems like a huge number. According to the NHTSA, the estimated fatality rate for the first 3 months of 2024 decreased to 1.13 fatalities per 100 million vehicle miles traveled, down from the projected rate of 1.18 fatalities during the same period in 2023. So if we multiply 1.13 by 28, we get 31.64 per 100 million vehicle miles traveled. For simplicity's sake, we'll say the average mileage per year is 10,000 miles. The actual is 12,000 for cars and 3,000 for motorcycles, if you want to do more complicated math. Not that much more complicated. In a car, you have a 0.000113% chance of being killed in a crash per 10,000 miles, or in a year. On a motorcycle, you have a 0.003164% chance of being killed in a crash per 10,000 miles, or in a year if you ride a lot. These numbers do show a significant increase in the danger, but in both cases, there's a 99.99% chance that you won't be killed in a wreck for every 10,000 miles traveled. In that regard, it's not so scary. There are many things a rider can do to minimize their chance of being involved in a crash as well. Stay tuned for much more detail. The first place I'll start is with the 2021 NHTSA key findings. Yes, they are a bit dated and don't match up with some newer numbers. It does take the government a while to get, sort, process, and then publish data. Here might be a good place to pause the video so that you can read these individually, as I'll just do a quick summary of each point. Point 1, 14% of all traffic fatalities were motorcyclists. The reason this is disturbing is that it's a much higher percentage than the 3% of vehicles on the roads being motorcycles. Point 2, motorcycle fatalities are increasing while ridership is decreasing. Point 3, motorcyclist injuries are also on the rise. Point 4, in 2021, motorcyclists were 24 times more likely to be killed in a crash than in cars. That is now up to 28 times more likely due to a myriad of factors, including increased safety features in cars. Point 5, 36% of riders involved in fatal crashes weren't licensed. Point 6, motorcyclists are more likely to be impaired, with 28% of fatal crashes involving intoxicated motorcyclists, more than any other vehicle type. Point 7, 43% of single vehicle motorcycle fatalities, the rider was intoxicated. Point 8, fatal motorcycle crashes at night were 42% alcohol impaired as opposed to 16% during the day. Point 9, in states without universal helmet laws, 55% of riders killed in 2021 were not wearing helmets as opposed to 9% in states with universal helmet laws. Staying with the NHTSA, 57% of motorcycle crashes, fatalities involved a secondary vehicle underway. With 75% of crashes, the motorcycle was struck from the front and only 8% from the rear, leaving 17% to be side impacts. Motorcycles were the most likely vehicle of any vehicle type to collide with a fixed object, with 24% of all fixed object collisions being motorcyclists, with passenger cars next at 17%. The next few images show the trends from 2012 through 2021 on NHTSA statistics. Table 1 is about how many fatalities for motorcyclists per 100 million miles traveled. The climbing rate is a constant trend. Table 3 shows that motorcyclists ranging from 25 to 34 years old have the highest fatality rates and weekday versus weekend rates. Table 6 shows the fatality of alcohol-impaired riders by crash type and day of week. And Table 4 shows the fatality rate of motorcyclists based on displacement, with the highest percentage being the 501 to 1000 cc range at 35%. Before we move on to the next source, there are already things motorcyclists can do to mitigate the risks of riding motorcycles. I'll just summarize these quickly as factual points to keep my opinions and biases out of it as much as possible. Number 1. Do not ride a motorcycle unless you have a valid license. Number 2. Always operate a motorcycle stone cold sober. Number 3. Wear appropriate protective gear, including a helmet with an absolute minimum of a DOT rating. Number 4. Be extra cautious at intersections and stay away from the center line of the road. Now on the NSC, National Safety Council data, there are some pretty easy to understand pie charts provided with some correlations added. In the first NSC chart, Motorcycle Traffic Death Overview 2022 shows that 66% of fatalities occurred in urban areas, with 34% rural areas, and 84% occurred without a weather event, meaning rain, fog, things like that. On the second NSC chart, helmet use in fatal crashes is 60.26%, while unhelmeted is 36.09%. Important distinctions are not made here regarding the type of helmet being used, the helmet rating, and the separation of helmet loss states and states without helmet loss. On the right, it shows 28.8% of fatalities studied, the motorcyclist was intoxicated. The third NSC chart shows time of day for fatal crashes being nearly evenly split between daytime at 50.11% and nighttime at 49.21%. On the right-hand side, 37.94% of fatal motorcycle crashes were single vehicle, meaning only the motorcycle was involved, with 54.74% were two vehicle collisions and 7.32% were three or more vehicles. The next two slides show geographic location by state for incident of fatal motorcycle crashes, with the second of the two showing the top states, with Florida ranking number 1 in the nation for fatal motorcycle crashes, and with District of Columbia being the least with 4 fatal motorcycle crashes, and Alaska at 8 fatal motorcycle crashes. My home state of Vermont rounds out the bottom 5 with 14 fatal motorcycle crashes. This brings us to my final source on this video regarding motorcycle safety, which is Forbes Advisor. Again, I'll summarize the slides quickly and advise that you stop the video to read the full context. I will also post the sources that Forbes utilized in order to write the article. Current numbers of 28 times more likely again are featured, but referring to the start of the video, it's still highly unlikely in the grand scheme of things. 83,000 motorcyclists were injured in 2021, not fatally, or 468 per 100 million miles ridden. When we do the math again for 10,000 mile year, it chance of being injured is 0.0468%, or a 99.9452% chance of not being injured. The 36% of fatalities being unlicensed drivers comes up again, and I just don't understand why someone would ride a motorcycle without a license. That's a personal thing. A new statistic is that August is the most dangerous month to be on a motorcycle, with 12% of all fatal motorcycle crashes happening in August. Less than 2% of motorcycle crashes happen when it's raining, in part due to the lack of riders willing to brave the rain. Failure to wear a proper helmet again is cited as one of the biggest risk factors for motorcycle riders. 34% of motorcycle fatalities involve excessive speeding. 27% of fatal motorcycle accidents involves alcohol. Alcohol-impaired crashes increase at night. Weekends, motorcycle fatalities occur most between 6 and 9 p.m. During weekdays, most motorcycle fatalities occur between 3 and 6 p.m. More cars mean more car wrecks, fewer bikes means fewer by gross count wrecks, but the percentage-wise of 3% of registered vehicles are motorcycles and make up 14% of fatal crashes is still alarming. 76% of motorcycle collisions were head-on, or from the front. I can only assume this includes the classic hurt report scenario: oncoming vehicle turns left into or blocks the path of motorcyclists, and where motorcycles and cars meet on the center double yellow line of the road, which is something I see commonly here. I advise everyone I ride with, stay away from the double yellow line. 65% of riders wear DOT-compliant helmets, and 6% wear novelty helmets that offer no practical protection. Helmets reduce fatalities and same-scenario crashes by 37%. Only 18 states require motorcyclists to wear helmets. Please pause the video here to read the list. States without motorcycle helmet laws have higher fatality rates than states with motorcycle helmet laws. The state with the most motorcycle crashes is New Hampshire, and the state with the least is Alaska. These are 2023 numbers. 35% of motorcycle fatalities happen at intersections. 67.42% of motorcycle fatalities happen in urban areas. Interstates are the safest roads for motorcyclists, with only 8% of motorcycle wrecks being on the interstate system. 25 to 29-year-olds are the highest risk of a fatal crash. 92% of motorcyclists killed are men. 99% of male motorcycle deaths are the pilot or rider. And 61% of female motorcycle deaths are passengers. This last slide contains the sources used by Forbes' team as references. Please pause the video here to get a better look. So I did want to thank you for sticking with me on this long video that covered a lot of safety statistics. The number one thing I want you to keep in mind as you process the information in this video is there's a lot riders can do in order to increase their safety on the road. Just make sure that you're riding so you can ride again tomorrow, and that'll pretty much take care of everything. Keep the shiny side up, the rubber side down, and keep it wheel.